Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. And the one-button rotation assist has become publicly available, and it's absolutely destroying the game. I saw a video from Tettles, the MDI commentator, and he was running a plus 17 key and doing number one DPS for the entire duration of the dungeon. I wanted to give it a go in PvP, and I wanted to put it on a specialization that would be really difficult. Subtlety Rogue is notoriously and historically the most difficult class to play in the game. I have basically zero experience on it, so I wanted to give it a run and see what it can do. The first thing I noticed is that it will not let you put wound poison on, and it won't let you do the rotation unless you have instant poison on. So I'm already at a disadvantage in PvP because wound poison is a lot better than instant poison, but we're just going to sprint right in. We still have to use our crowd control and cooldowns like Shadow Blades. So we have to sap manually. We have to use Shadow Blades manually. We have to use defensive cooldowns manually, kidney shots and cheap shots and the like. We have to use those manually, but everything else is tracked on my number 3 keybind, which you can see at the bottom. And I'm just going to be spamming that whenever I open on a target. So we open it with cheap shot and we're just going to spam the one button. That's all we're doing right now. We trinket out, we're spamming the one button. It does our whole rotation. It uses Shuriken Storm when we have procs. It generates damage. It will unfortunately utilize Shadow Dance basically back to back because it's just trying to do maximum DPS. And in a PvP situation, generally as a Subtlety Rogue, it's not a great idea. You'd want to, be spacing those out on your windows. But we blind the Priest Trinket on Kidney Shot, step back, press the one button macro, and just absolutely destroy the mage. Although I think it was mostly the Hunter that did most of the damage in that exchange. So for Subtlety Rogue, first round, we're already getting a win. We're feeling pretty good, but there were obviously some flaws. The first one is that you can't put wound poison on. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to patch that in so you can actually put, just skip that. I don't even know why it tells you, I guess it's worried you forgot to put a poison on. I'd rather just have a pop-up on my screen say I forgot to put poison on rather than screw my whole rotation unless I'm using instant poison. And the other thing is because it shoves Shadow Dance back to back, it's not really, the most optimal unless you're going to cheese in the opener basically with it. But it does really effective damage, relative to all of that. So we're going to open up with sprint here. We got to dodge the flare. We might get pulled out of stealth. So we do ideally want to get a sap, but every single target in this lobby can go in stealth. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to actually implement that. So the priest is going to grab combat. We're not going to be able to sap them. You can see it switches between Shadow Strike. It knows to use symbols. It knows to use Shadow Dance. So it uses everything. We cheap shot. We open with the one button, it's comboing in, eviscerates, Shuriken Storms, and it actually uses Shuriken Toss when the target's out of range. I switch back to the Boomkin to try and help out my mage buddy here with a kidney shot, and I'm just spamming the one button. All I'm using is my number 3 keybind. I'm pressing at most 3 keybinds so far this entire round, and I'm number 2 damage at 800k DPS, which is way better than I think the vast majority of Subtlety Rogues below maybe 2200. I go for multiple cheap shots and a smoke bomb, blind the healer, and I can focus on that crowd control because I'm just spamming one button to do my rotation. My brain is literally turned off in that sense. It's almost like a relaxing moment there. But you do need to use blades, and you can see I've forgotten to do that a lot of the times. This is one of the first lobbies I played on it. And you also need to remember to use Thistle Tea, which is going to give you mastery buffs during your cooldown. So I should line this up whenever the one button is basically telling me Shadow Dance is available. I should be popping that tea to buff up my mastery, popping my blades, especially on that smoke bomb I did earlier to really maximize my damage. But it takes a lot of the nervousness of playing a spec for the first time completely out of the equation. And I do think that this would likely pop up your rating a lot, especially if you're a 1500 rated player or below. You can see we're just doing the whole rotation. We gouge off. We can swap over to the Hunter, swap over to the Priest, get some combo points. I want to go for a kidney shot. Probably going to have to use it to peel, though, because we're taking so much damage. You still have to remember to use Feint. You still have to remember to use defensive cooldowns. And you can see if you forget to use Shadow Blades like me, you're not going to do that much DPS. We step in for kidney shot. Still haven't used Shadow Blades. Again, it's my first time playing Subtlety Rogue. I really wanted to give this a run. I used some of my lingering knowledge of Rogue in general because I've played Outlaw and Assassination, so I know how to cheap shot and kidney shot basically and gouge. But rotation-wise, I'd have no idea. I was also playing Death from Above, which it doesn't incorporate into the rotation, so it doesn't include PvP talents. So depending on your spec, if there's a big PvP talent incorporation, which would affect your whole rotation, it's not going to account for that. So it doesn't use Death from Above instead of Eviscerate, for example, which is a little bit of a letdown in these situations. Mage ends up getting clobbered here. He's playing Adaptation. This is, again, I think an 1800 rated lobby, which is kind of where you start now with how inflation has been for this season. So still kind of new players in this lobby, but I just wanted to see how it would roll, see overall damage, right? I did it just underneath the Boomkin, just underneath the Hunter. And I'm a subtlety rogue. Like subtlety rogue, not typically known for doing like overall high DPS. And I'm just smashing one button and I'm getting this much value out of it. And I saw some people in my stream last night while I was undergoing this challenge, which I'm going to be running on my stream from now on, see how high I can get on subtlety rogue using the one button macro. A lot of players are having fun just stepping into PvP and smashing the DPS rotation and just having fun with it, which begs the question, right? In the long term, is this good for the game or bad for the game? Because if it gets people in, and you know, especially new, like intermediate and below level players, I think that's a good thing. You know, it's going to get them in the door, and then maybe they're like, hey, I kind of like this. Maybe I'll try without the one button, or maybe they just keep using the one button. I don't know. But we get cheap shots. We got kidney shots. We're just spamming the crap out of the one button, our 3 key bind. I started getting like arthritis in my finger, and I had to move it. I had it on the 1 key binding, and I had to move it to the 3 key binding. But we're just smashing, bro. We're just smashing burst damage, able to just demolish the mage. I remembered to press Shadow Blades, and maybe that was the difference there. I remember to press Shadow Blades and Thistletea, and I could absolutely run the mage down in round number 3 there, and still doing like 600 to 700k DPS. It seems like sustained over time. You do start to get energy starved, I've noticed in some situations if you spam it and you get a lot of uptime, which was, you know, difficult to deal with. But the biggest issues right now is the fact that it doesn't let you put wound poison on. I did this on Ret Paladin as well, and on Ret Paladin it'd be nice if you could like opt out of certain abilities. Like you don't want to use Divine Storm in Arena. Maybe in a battleground it would be crazy at padding the meter. Actually, maybe I should test this in a battleground, because it'd probably be insane in a battleground where it's all about maxing your damage. But we got Sap on Pally. Sucks that we got to wait for them in stealth here. We might try and sap him again. Mage is invis, so he takes less damage, so we'll wait. But just cheap shot, one button. Cheap shot, one button. He blocked it. He's scared of getting one shot, dude. He's scared of my one button macro, bro. He's scared of it. Now, it does lower your global cooldown, and I didn't notice it so much for like a DPS loss. I noticed it for utility. It's hard to like stun. It's hard to use the Freedom or Sanctuary if you're a Paladin, and use like those buff effects with the reduced GCD. Like it's really slow to react to get somebody out of crowd control in that sense, and it can be slow incorporating stuns as well. So I don't think this will be better at the highest level of play. But if you're completely new to a class, it's 100% better than trying to play it yourself. If you're just trying to go after like an elite set or something towards the end of the season on a spec you'd never played before, it might depend on the spec, because some of the specs not that good. Like Evoker, I would not recommend using the one button rotation at all, even if you're a beginner, because it fully channels all of your empowered abilities, which is very bad. That's a no-no. But you can see I got to remember to press defensives. I have to remember to feint and evasion and use blind. It's not going to do that for me, and I'm not going to win the game only using the DPS button. That's for sure, without using the abilities incorporated in it. So it kind of gives you this nice little kind of like break to focus on other things. Like if you're someone who's just been tunnel vision on your damage rotation all the time, it lets you focus on the game and like track diminishing returns and see how your defensive cooldowns should work without really having to dedicate too much. But here, Shadow Dance came off cooldown, cheap shot, smoke bomb, spamming that one button. I feel like I watched a Palomar macro video on Rogue or something, and now I'm just like absolutely smashing anybody that comes my way here in round number 4. We grabbed 3 wins. We get the Boomy back on our team for round number 5. But I thought it was just kind of fun. But I'm a bit concerned that it is actually significantly better than a large majority of the players, which I don't know what the number is that they were trying to hit with that. Like, is it supposed to outperform 90% of the player base, and it's only good if you're in the top 10? Because like at the highest level, right, losing the global cooldowns on your utility is going to cost you games. Not getting a defensive off in time, or not being able to stun fast enough because your GCD is lowered, it's not going to be in a tournament. But at the lowest of low ratings, like, it's just such an optimal rotation. It maybe shows to how complex the rotations have gotten, how bloated they've gotten with all the passives that interact, and that's likely something that they're going to need to look at trimming down in the future if this thing can actually outperform that many of its players. Or are we just all that bad? Like, are we just that bad? I don't know. You guys need to let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's good or bad for the game? I think the novelty initially here might get a lot of people to PvP that haven't before, which is cheap shot, one button spam. Thistletea, Shadow Blades, Kidney Shot on the Solar Beam, Smoke Bomb down. I found on the Rogue it's probably better to just go all in and hope they don't use something because it Shadow Dances twice in a row and you have no opportunities later. So we swap to the Paladin with our diminishing returns. We still got a cheap shot, but look at this damage it can do, bro. Look at the damage it can do. Like, it's crazy. I'm not thinking. I'm just pressing, bro. I'm just pressing. I'm not thinking. The only thing I'm thinking about is, are they off stun DR? Because I would like to cheap shot them and then start spamming the crap out of my one button. Look at that step cheap shot. The trinket dead. Just donezo, dusted. Move on to the final round. Now, can we grab a win with the mage? That's the real question of the lobby. And I'm going to get more data on this. Again, this might be making it look way better than it actually is because this mage is kind of struggling in this lobby. I played it on Paladin at above 2200 MMR. Best score I was able to get was 3-3, but I got a lobby against another Ret who wasn't using it, and I outdamaged them. And we got the same score in the lobby. We both only got 2 wins, and I outdamaged them. So I gotta run obviously more. This is just like an initial reaction to it, my thoughts on it so far, and who it would be best for, and kind of just laughing at the fact that it's even here at all in this type of capacity, as opposed to like the absolute serious end result of it. This is just kind of like a first showing. But we got another game here. Paladin's in combat, so probably got to cheap shot. We can cheap shot, and spam the crap out of the 1 button. We get bashed. We're sad. It's okay. War Stomp clone. We can just cloak, you know, because I'm going all in, bro. Like I use 2 shadow dances in the opener because that's just what my 1 button does. So I'm cloaking the opener, dude, and I'm kidney shot, probably smoke bombing, and just sending everything. And it's probably going to be my play style on the rest of my journey, is to just go all in. So if anybody sees me in your lobby, you better believe I'm sending every single button. Except I didn't blades. I forgot the blades. Look, even with the 1 button macro, I'm still bad. Not even the 1 button macro can make me good at this class, dude. I still forgot the blades. I said I'm going to go all in. I forget the blades. I just don't use it. I thought it was funny. Some specs do not work at all. Some specs it will prioritize AoE when there are pets, which is very suboptimal in Arena. Probably even some cases in Battlegrounds. So it would be nice to be able to opt out of certain spells on the priority list, especially this poison thing. I don't understand. It literally won't let you start doing your damage rotation unless you have instant poison on. It's like, how about just any poison? If I have wound or instant, and then it will continue on its rotation. Because it's really strange that it doesn't let you do that. But it was fun that it let me get on a spec immediately, just instantly on a spec. I just needed to understand how to stun and press defensives, and I could be effective. Like, I could immediately be effective. Like, I think that type of tool could actually be really good for getting somebody into the game before they doesn't play WoW that might be intimidated. It kind of turns the game into a button spamming, like Mortal Kombat. You know how, like, Super Smash Brothers, you spam A and it does, like, 1 jab, then 2 jabs, then 3 jabs, and it combines it into just 1 ability. That's kind of what it feels like, which honestly feels like a console, which, again, we were all speculating, is this to try and get WoW on console? And this will 100% be able to get WoW on console if it can cut down all those buttons down into 1. And then you make a 1-button defensive rotation button. That's your other one, that the first time you press it, it's like a small defensive. Second time you press it, it's a bigger defensive or something. Or maybe a left trigger modifies what defensive you use onto the console. 100%. This could lead to getting that to that level, because that's how it feels. It turns the game into like a Mortal Kombat style of, you're just kind of like button bashing your damage rotation. You still need to be aware of some other things. Obviously, you won't go anywhere if you don't know how to CC, track DRs, or use defensives. And it does slow your global cooldown down at the highest level. Bit worried that it's just a little bit too good, especially how we saw it perform in Mythic Plus. So it's probably going to get nerfed, but if you wanted to just have fun with this on a spec, you wanted an elite set on a class you don't play, some specs are harder than others. The only one I know for sure is that Devivoker is poo-poo. Don't do it in PvP at least. I don't know about the other ones. I think casters in general, the rotation assist is not as good. But melee DPS, so if you really want like the Death Knight set or something, might be worth trying to give it a go. It might boost you up some rating, might get you to an elite set before they nerf it, because it's really good, so they might nerf it. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just a little fun one here to showcase the new update. If you like the content, make sure to smash the subscribe button. Thanks you guys for your support, and I will see you in the next one.